Rallying's always been a huge part of the event for all of us. Hannah Mickler obviously built us this fabulous rally stage in the forest, 2/3 of the way up the hill, and in '99 we had Colin McRae and Richard Burns here together. It was certainly one of the highlights, and I think that David Richards would say that this was a breakthrough for Richard. This was the moment he really sort of came out of himself. He was purposely put head to head with Colin up the hill, and he beat him, and suddenly he found that he could do it, and he went on, of course, to become world champion immediately after that, I think the next season.
The year that both Colin and Richard came to the festival was quite interesting, because in typical Richard fashion, he said, if I'm going to the festival, I'm going to make sure that I go and I win. Colin, in typical Colin fashion, I think, said, I'm going to go to the festival and go sideways all over the place and have fun and enjoy myself. So Richard and Subaru pitched up with a car that was, on the weight limit, a lower, sort of down to minimum ride height, as it were, proper tarmac suspension. They'd actually been to Myra and run the car and tried various things that they thought would work at Goodwood, whereas Colin basically came with a Focus that was set up for, I don't know, gravel probably. There was a lot of running about as one team tried to outdo the other. So I think it was fairly typical of what went on in those times. It was all in good banter, as it were. But both drivers just wanting to make sure that they had the psychological upper hand.
To have them roaring up the tarmac and then sort of smashing their way onto the rally stage and doing that as one sort of big stage was a great thing to see, and certainly they were some of the superstars of rallying we've had here, and it was great to have them. And of course they're missed. We missed them all hugely.
Suddenly, there wasn't, one British driver, there was two there, and then, they got the press made up stories about they hated each other, and they were battling all the time with each other, nobody else, but that wasn't really true at the time.
Everybody just seemed to love that era of World Rally, and the fact that, two Brits fighting it out, slugging it out, over event after event at the top of the sport was great for the profile.
Richard was a quick driver, but he was a championship driver. When Richard won the World Championship, I don't think he won a rally that year, but he was a thinker. He was more a thinker of the future, of the long term. He was thinking a year ahead. He was. Whereas Colin was thinking rally ahead and wanted to win, he wanted to win all the rallies basically. But Richard was quick enough to be up there with them, but then if he saw things were getting a bit too quick, or he felt that it was getting beyond what he thought was safe, then he would just back off and grab the points, and that's what won him the championship. So you've got to take your hat off to him there as well.
Richard actually took me in the forest. I went down to Wales to see him tyre testing, and he took me through the forest in the Subaru, and I got to say it was the best experience in terms of car control I've ever had. He was chatting away to me, saying, "Oh, don't look so worried, you look very worried," and literally put his tapped my knee, and his feet were doing this, and we were like, whoa. And actually the back end was round here. I couldn't. Your sense of direction just goes completely. You can't work out which way you're going, where you're going, and he only had one hand on the wheel. He was only at kind of 70%. It was an amazing display of talent.